All right, think back to how you grew up with money. All the way back to your childhood, which some people are like, no, don't go there. But listen, thinking about how you grew up with money is a huge part of how you handle money today, because there's a chance that you duplicate exactly what your parents did, right or wrong, or you run completely to the other side, the other direction. You're like, nope, I'm gonna do the complete opposite, right or wrong. But acknowledging it and knowing it is really important. So I think one important thing too is to realize when you're talking about your parents and how they handled money and how you were raised with money, we're not here to defend your parents. We're not here to bash them, but we are here to tell the truth. The truth reveals a lot, and it's a really important act to do, to say, okay, I'm gonna look back and just tell the truth. What was it like growing up with money? Now, parents communicated two ways about money: verbally and emotionally. So verbally, either they were open about money, talked about, it's out there, or closed, where you never heard them talk about it at all, no matter what. And emotionally, they communicated as well. Was there stress and tension and anxiety around money? Or was it calm and stable and just, okay, yeah, money's fine, not a big deal. So what ends up happening is you fall into one of four money classrooms. And your classroom really is where you learn life's lessons, which was your childhood home. So you either grew up in an anxious classroom, an unstable classroom, an unaware classroom, or a secure classroom when it comes to money. So here are a few questions for you to figure out which classroom you grew up in. Did you have a hard time telling your parents that you needed money for school? Did you observe your parents' money habits rather than hearing about them? Did you feel tension around money rather than hearing an actual argument? Did you feel like you didn't have any freedom to ask questions around money? If you answered yes to most of these questions, then you probably grew up in an anxious classroom. This is where communication was closed, you never heard about it, and the emotion was stressed. So if that was you, one of your challenges is going to be talking about money openly. Say, no, I'm actually going to engage this kind of uncomfortable conversation with friends, family, spouse, whatever it is. So that could be your challenge. Now, did you never think about money? Never have anyone teach you how money works? Did you find out later your parents' actual financial situation, whether it was good or bad? Did you hear your parents say that you don't have to worry about money? If that's the case, then possibly you grew up in an unaware classroom. This means that communication was closed, but the emotional state of the home was calm. If that's the case, then one of your challenges is going to be apathy. It's kind of like this ignorance is bliss, like everything's fine. Don't worry about it. It's all gonna take care of itself. So watch out for that. All right, did you hear your parents always argue about money? Did you feel like things were either feast or famine, like it swapped quickly between shopping sprees or barely being able to cover bills? Did you never hear your parents actually have a plan for their money? Did you feel like money issues were just never resolved? If that's the case, then you possibly grew up in an unstable money classroom. This is where communication was open, but the emotional state of the home was very, very stressed. So if that's the case, then you possibly will have a challenge around communicating about money and the conflict around money, because you're gonna feel like anytime money's brought up, there's going to be unhealthy conflict, which again, is not always the case. Now lastly, did you hear your parents talk about money often and openly? Did you hear calm intention around their money decisions? Did you actually witness them doing a budget and meeting together? Did you experience your parents being on the same page with their money? If so, then you probably grew up in a secure money classroom. If that's the case, then one of your challenges is going to be understanding all the work and intention it took to create that environment. And I encourage anyone, no matter how you grew up, to really try to get your family there, where money is openly talked about, but also the emotion of it is calm. Now, you don't have to have a lot of money in order to do that. You could still be on a tight budget, but you're actually in control of your money. And so that stable classroom is really, really key. And as I was unpacking all this content for my new book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, as I was writing, I realized as a Ramsey kid, I was like, yeah, my memories started around 6 years old. So I was like, I kind of feel like we grew up in a stable classroom. And I mentioned it to my parents and they both looked at each other and laughed because they're like, oh yeah, well, that's because your memories started when you were like 6 years old. Yeah. 6 years and below, we're in the unstable classroom. Lots of fighting, lots of conflict around money, lots of stress. So this is not to shame your past by any means, but it is to acknowledge, say, hey, this shapes who I am. And in order to acknowledge that and see that, tell the truth about that, you can learn and grow from it. And again, I talk about this all in my new book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money. You can go to rachelcruze.com to pre-order a copy, but getting this foundation piece of your money story is so crucial for you to win long-term.